Hi, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. As I said yesterday, it was going to be a really busy day today, and it has been, and I am exhausted. So I said I would come on, and here I am. Better to be here later than not at all. So, how is everyone doing? Happy Friday. Did everyone have a great day? I had a busy day and I'm so exhausted. Thank God it's the weekend, TGIF, and here we are. This weather is really crazy. It's like all day it's been about like 75 degrees, and that's weird for October. And I don't see the leaves falling off the trees yet. This weather is all messed up. Around this time of year, it's supposed to be cooler, but here we are. So, thank you for your comments. I'm starting to get comments from some of you about how this message and this channel is helping you. So that's good news, and I'm glad. So continue to show up here. Subscribe to the channel so that you know when I'm going to come on live. I'm not here on the weekends yet, but for right now, I am here during the week. And I want to keep encouraging everyone because I know none of this is easy. So instead of just asking you how your day went, how did your week go? Is everyone doing well? And hopefully these messages are helping you. Now, if there are any newcomers today, thank you for being here. And I want to first say, as I always say on each video, I am not a licensed therapist. I'm not a therapist or social worker at all. I'm just someone who went through a lot of trauma, a lot of loss, and a lot of pain during the shutdown, losing 10 people. If you go back a few videos, you will hear my story. And I'm also a 9/11 survivor, and all that trauma and loss and everything piled up. So I had to find ways to heal it because, the shutdown was really dark for me and really lonely. So I had to find ways to heal that. And what I do on this channel is talk about some of the ways that I did heal it, with things which, people would see as simple things like basically, I'm just going to say self care because taking care of yourself, your physical and mental health, people, is very important. And do the things you like if you like playing cards, putting puzzles together, doing crossword puzzles, listening to comedy shows, having a playlist of music, all those things are ways to heal yourself. If any of you, what I forgot to say also, if any of you play the piano, that's soothing as well. Do that because, I play just one song. I would love to learn how to play different things, but that's a soothing piece as well. It's a healing source to heal, the pain and everything, the grief related to loss. Like I always say, we never get over it, but we can get through it. So today's topic of discussion is healing to growth. Like first we go through the pain and we go through that dark moment of the grief, and then sometimes we have trigger grief. I call it trigger grief because in the beginning, when we lose someone, it's like our body and our mind and everything have to adjust to the loss. And it's hard because we have those moments that trigger it. We could be anywhere. We could be at work. We could be out somewhere, and then boom, that trigger. And I didn't know anything about that, guys, until I started to read up because I thought there was something wrong with me. But as I started to research about grief and loss, especially a whole lot of loss at one time, I started to understand why I was having those trigger moments. And it helped me to learn ways to deal with it, like music and the things that I just discussed. Those things help, and I started to do those things. But before I started to do that, for those who are new and who are here, I started to have um I don't know if I should use this word, but hate. prayer conversations with God. Well, no, let me not say hate, screaming, angry conversations with God as to why He was allowing me to go through all that. And I was just angry and throwing things around and screaming at God every day about why I had to go through these things. And after I did that for about 4 or 5 months, all of a sudden, I just, things changed. Because what I did after that, I calmed. It was like that rage, and then it went to the calm moment. And then I asked God to help me. I got off my high horse of being angry, and I asked God to help me. And I said, if you help me, I promise God, I take a vow that I'm going to pay it forward if you help me to get through this, because it was hard. I was just, like I said, it's hard. Anyone going through any kind of grief like this, whether it's loss of a parent, child, or spouse, my condolences. And I know it's hard and it takes time, and never rush the process. And after I had that angry moments of God and saying how much, I'm just not going to even repeat some of the stuff I said here, but I made my peace with God, and I made it my peace, and then start to understand, in order to transform and change for the better, I had to go through certain moments of my life, and deal with pain and look at it and examine it and all that other stuff that's not so fun. But, and it took time, and I'm still going through things, but it's better because God is helping me as I help myself, self care, and as I vowed to Him that I would pay it forward in some way. I never thought I would have a channel, but this is one way I'm really paying it forward. And God has helped me. And the things that are beyond my control, I go to God and ask Him to handle it, and He handles it. And even stuff that happens, like there was a time I was getting rid of folks out of my life because it was toxic. It was extremely toxic. And as I started to feel better, I started to see what all that was. And people wanted to hang on for dear life, you know, and they were doing spiteful things. They thought I didn't know, but it gets back to me. And the old Lisa was surfacing, but then what I was doing is saying, God, I need you to handle this because this is too much. And as I applied the things I was learning, also therapy, because I do that weekly as well with my therapist, I started to let go and let God and give it to Him. And I swear to you guys that He has been handling these things, and people coming against me with this, stuff they were doing, setting me up for failure, doing a whole bunch of things behind the scenes. And as I started to learn what was really happening, I started to give that to God and ask God to handle it. And He has been handling it and ways that I would not have expected. And I'm grateful for it. And I'm here sharing with you that if I can do it, and not and when I say that I can do it by myself in a natural, I have God. Also, I have a relative who passed away on my father's side, and before she passed away, she said to me, Lisa, I may not be here in the natural, but I'm there in the spirit, and I got your back, I promise you. And I swear I believe she's here as well because of certain things that's happened, but we're not going to get into that today. But, it's like the more effort that I put towards the prayers that I ask God about, and the more He's been helping me, and the more He's been bringing justice to these situations, that I'm not going to go into detail here. And prayer helps a lot, you know. And as I start to feel better, because people, I lost my dog, and anybody who is a pet lover know what your pet means to you, and it was so hard, my pug Rocky, he was my little rock, and it was so difficult. I'm like, right down to my dog, I'm losing that too. And then I really started, in being angry for a long time. But, I had to learn how to self care. And the shutdown taught us that. Well, taught me that because in the beginning of the shutdown, we couldn't go anywhere. Remember that? Only to the supermarket, back home supermarket. In the beginning, it's like, okay, You don't have to go to work. But then it starts to get boring. I get bored easily because I just, and then I had to look in a mirror and look at the stuff that I was going through, etc. And it wasn't fun. And then homework, therapists giving me homework for what? That kind of attitude I had in the beginning. Had to look at make a list of the pros and the cons. He would never tell me to get rid of people or a situation. He would just tell me, look at the pros and the cons. And does the pros outweigh the cons, and et cetera, and so forth. And I started to look at things. As I started to feel better and heal, I started to look at things and life from a different perspective. I started to self love. And the reason why I'm talking about this here, because as you get better and as you, in time, it's not going to happen overnight, you started to feel better. And as you feel better, you do better. And you want to take care of your physical and mental health, especially as you start to love on yourself. That's important because people, when you love on yourself, you're not going to put up with anything. I was putting up with any and everything. I was being a doormat to people and, letting people do stuff just to hold on to a relationship. And, it's not worth it because my needs were not being met. For me, a relationship is an equal give and take, no, not just a relationship, but any situation. It could be a business situation. It could be a family situation. If you're always giving and you're not getting anything in return, then that's never an equal give and take. Somebody only contact you when they want or need something. And I would just jump on that. But as I started to heal and get better, I started to realize self-care and self-love is important. And I matter too, just like you matter too, you know? And the reason why I'm talking a lot about this is because as you started to self-care, sometimes you need to be alone. You don't need to be around people, when you're taking care of yourself. Because it's time to, when you go through grief, to prioritize, put your needs first. Because if you're not okay, you can't take care of yourself or anybody or anything else around you. So it's important to self-care. That's all part of healing. And I had to learn that. And it wasn't easy. Healing will help you to ease the pain, to look at your life and situations in a different perspective, you know? And, I look at things differently now because things that would upset me to my very core and I would just be in stress, etc., I let it go now, let it go, you know? And I do things that uplift me. I watch videos that are positive, talk about, we all have bad days and we have good days because we're human. But to try to change the circle of the circumstances, if we can change it for the better, to do so, especially when we're going through grief, not to have a lot of toxicity in our life, and if we can change that, it's to our best interest to do so because it will ease the stress of our mental and physical health because you're already going through enough with the grief of the loss, and I had to change that, and I embraced the new me. Some people may not like the new me because they don't understand, because for so long I've been that old Lisa where I was subservient to people and my needs were not being met at all. And I matter, and you matter too. And don't let the depression or the grief overtake you and cause you to be in a deep depression, which can lead to suicidal thoughts. Please always reach out. And one of the ways you can reach out is by Googling a therapist in your area. You don't have to tell anybody about it. This is part of your self-care. You don't have to let everybody know, hey, I'm seeing a therapist. It's none of their business. This is about your self-health, your mental and physical health, which you always want to take care of. And then, try a different therapist, try a few is what I'm saying. And then one that you are vibing with, then that may be the therapist for you. And also, it might be important to connect to a bereavement group, because there are going to be people there who are going through grief the same way that you may be going through it. And they may talk about some ways that might be effective for you to help yourself as well. Like what helps them, how are they getting through it? Because sometimes life gives us lemons. Let's make lemonade. Let's not throw in a towel. Our physical mental health is everything, and that's so important. And add laughter to your daily routine, your daily life. Find things to laugh about. I start to watch a lot of comedy shows or something online that's funny. I like those dog videos they have. And I'm a Waltons fan now. When I used to be on Facebook a lot, I am still on, but not in the same way. I used to see gossip and toxic stuff, and that only added to my depression and my grief. So now what I do, I like the Waltons. Anybody who grew up with the Waltons, I watch that. They come on Hallmark every day. And if I can't watch it because I'm at work, I will record it and watch it, when I get home. But I love the way they love each other. The families were tight knit back then, solid. And I love the way the wife and husband love each other. And I ask myself, I wonder if love like that exists today. Because everything today, not everything, but so many things today is fake. Fake love, fake friends. And it's like it's not what I'm into. I like being my authentic self, and would love to find someone who just vibe with who I am, and that's hard to do. But one day at a time. And just keep moving forward. Don't give up. You're going to have good days where you want to get up and do certain things, and then you have days where you just don't want to talk to anyone, and that's okay, because that's going to happen in the beginning. But don't stay in that space. Little by little, take one day at a time and one step at a time. Remember, Rome was not built in a day, it was built brick by brick. So give yourself time, and never let anyone tell you it's been 2 or 3 years, you should be over it. No, no. Everybody goes at their own pace. Never let anyone tell you that. And take your time and go day by day. And as you start to feel better, you do better. Turn that pain into a purpose, and turn that purpose into power, and power into paying it forward to help others, as I'm doing here on this channel. That's so important, because someone is somewhere not talking to anyone, not letting anyone know that they're grieving real hard to the point of depression, and they're by themselves, and they may have suicidal thoughts, and you may not know anything about it. That's why it's so important to share this video. Let other people know that this is a space where they can watch. They don't have to tell anyone they're watching or what they're going through. And also, I encourage you, you know, throughout this video, every video, to connect with the therapist, a certified therapist who is a grief therapist, so that you can have that space to speak to someone. And all of that is confidential. You don't have to share that with anyone, but it's going to help you with your physical and mental health, little by little. Let's take those steps, because you are important. Okay, so that's the message today. Please share this video with other people. Let them know that they can be here and listen to the messages here. Also, comment and let me know what you want to hear as well, related to these topics, because it's important that other people get the message, and we keep sharing and subscribing here. Thank you all for being here today. Everybody enjoy this weather and have a great weekend. And I will be next week. I will be here again next week with a new message to encourage you. Stay uplifted always. This is Lisa, shedding love and light. And everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.